You can't change your habits. You're too late. It's impossible. You already blew it. Okay, so maybe you've been trying to build good habits or break bad ones, and so far nothing has really worked all that well. Maybe you just gave up. But before you throw your hands up in defeat, consider this. Your brain is literally physically changing every second of every day based on what you do. Your habits shape your brain, and your brain shapes your habits. So if you want to change your habits, you have to change your brain. And if you understand how that works, you can make it happen. So, here's the science of habit formation. Every habit is made of 3 parts. There's the cue, there's the routine, and there's the reward. For example, let's say you want to start working out more. The cue could be getting dressed for the day. The routine is going for a run, and the reward is feeling fit and healthy. When you do that a few times, your brain stores that habit in your basal ganglia. Think of those like biological hard drives for habits. And the next time you get dressed, your brain will get the urge to go for a run because it wants the reward of feeling fit and healthy. That's how habits work. They become automatic behaviors that your brain essentially makes you do because they feel good. But if you mess with any part of the habit loop, the whole thing falls apart. So let's say you tried to go on that run, but you got bored halfway through and then you stopped. Your brain is still getting the same reward as before, but now the loop is incomplete. Now your brain thinks something is wrong and it doesn't know what to do. So it starts sending signals to other parts of your brain to try and figure out what to do about this unexpected missing reward. That causes stress, which feels bad. And your brain doesn't want that. So it tries to complete the loop by making you do the routine again until it gets the reward it was expecting. That's why you feel an urge to finish things that you started. It's an automatic response in your brain to complete the habit loop. But how does that relate to changing your habits? Well, when you repeat a habit over and over, you're actually changing the connections between neurons in your basal ganglia. Those are the parts of your brain that control habits. So the more you repeat a behavior, the stronger those connections get. But that also means the opposite is true. If you stop repeating a habit, those connections weaken. Eventually, if you don't do a certain behavior for a long enough period of time, your brain essentially forgets that habit even exists, and at that point, you can start building a new habit. For example, let's go back to that first habit of going for a run after getting dressed. Let's say you stop doing that habit for a while. Well, now you can start a new habit by pairing a different routine with the same cue and reward. Like maybe you decide to bike instead of running, but still get dressed first and still get the reward of feeling fit and healthy. Eventually, your brain will store that new habit in your basal ganglia, and next time you get dressed, you'll automatically want to hop on your bike. Now, not all habits are created equal. Some habits are more powerful than others. We call those keystone habits, and here's why they're so important. Imagine you have a friend who eats healthy, works out, doesn't smoke, doesn't drink, and gets good grades. All those habits are related. Eating healthy and working out are related because one affects how you feel when you do the other. Not smoking and drinking are related because alcohol and tobacco are drugs that affect how you feel. And getting good grades is related to everything else because it doesn't require much energy or focus if your rate always high. In this example, eating healthy is the keystone habit. It influences all the other habits your friend has. But the reverse isn't true. If your friend stopped eating healthy, they would probably still get good grades, but they wouldn't necessarily start smoking or drinking or start failing classes just from that one bad meal. That's why keystone habits are so powerful. They influence other habits, but they aren't influenced by other habits. If you want to change your habits, you need to find the keystone. A great way to find your keystone habit is to think about your best quality. What's the one thing that you're proud of that all your other habits are working towards? Once you know what that is, you can build habits around it. Let's talk about breaking bad habits. Most people try to break bad habits by simply trying not to do them, but that doesn't work very well, especially if you don't know exactly what's causing the habit in the first place. That's why it's better to replace a bad habit with a good one. And the best way to do that is to pair a cue and reward with a good habit. Let's say you want to stop biting your nails. You could try keeping your hands busy with something else, or try putting a bit of substance on your nails, both of which are cues that will remind you not to bite your nails. Or you could try keeping a nail file handy. That way, when you feel the urge to bite your nails, you can do something productive instead and still get the satisfaction of completing a task. Changing your habits is completely possible, and once you understand how your habits affect your brain and vice versa, you can start making real lasting changes. Thanks for watching.